first, we will start off today's program with the national anthem sung by our Owensboro High School chorus and our color guard here at Owensboro High School. My name's Dave Kirk, and I am the Owensboro Public Schools Public Information Officer and a proud graduate of the 2006 class of Owensboro High School. I'd like to take the time to welcome friends, family members, students, teachers, and community members to the 2016 Hall of Achievement induction ceremony. It is our honor and privilege to add 10 distinguished alumni to their rightful place permanently in the halls of Owensboro High School. Dr. Brake, our superintendent, asked me to speak on his behalf. He could not make it today because he is wearing his dad cap as his daughter is visiting Georgetown University again on a college visit. So he regrets that he can't be here, but he has come up with a letter that he's personally written to every inductee expressing his gratitude for their service both to their career and our community. I'd also like to take the time to thank the Hall of Achievement Committee for putting in all the time and hours to make this thing happen, especially our chairwoman, Miss Lori Thurman. She's put a lot of work into this program, and we hope to present a great show for you guys today. Today, our Masters of Ceremony will be 2016 NHS President Corey Storm and Bluegrass Scholar Miss Erin Rouse.
Owensboro High School is proud to recognize 10 alumni who exemplify our long tradition of excellence. Today, we will induct a doctor, FBI agent, Air Force colonel, ESPN announcer, mayor, city commissioner, community activist, entrepreneurs, and a healthcare visionary. Owensboro High School students and friends, here are some of Owensboro High School's finest.
Our first inductee is an entrepreneur who is a KHSAA Hall of Fame member because of his personal athletic accomplishments as well as his success as a coach. His competitive spirit led to a successful career as a local businessman. The pinnacle of his success came with the opening of Wellington Park in 1991. To this day, Wellington Park is the only long-term care center licensed to provide both skilled nursing and Alzheimer's care. Bobby Watson.
A 1948 graduate of Owensboro High School, Bobby Watson has been an educator, coach, businessman, and Air Force veteran. He graduated from the University of Kentucky, where he was the basketball team captain for 2 years and played professional basketball with the Minneapolis Lakers. His awards include All-SEC, All-American, Kentucky High School Basketball Hall of Fame, Kentucky Athletic Hall of Fame, Dollhairs KHSAA Hall of Fame, and the Owensboro Walk of Fame. He coached a record 14 regional championships and 2 state basketball championships at OHS in 1972 and 1980.
Accepting this award will be Mr. John DeLacy on behalf of Bobby Watson.
Our next inductee has dedicated his life to others as a coach and former mayor. His passion for service was heightened in 1970 when he survived a nearly fatal accident. He learned at Owensboro High School the importance of respect for all, and says he is proud to be a Red Devil because of our tradition of excellence.
My arms are full of goosebumps. I was just in between seeing a couple of folks at the office, and his name popped up on my cell phone, and I thought, oh, maybe I got a golf game or something this weekend. And I said, yeah, hello, David. And he said, then he told me, and literally my eyes filled up with water, and I was just about shaking. When I had an accident in '70, I'm convinced that what I learned on the football field and the baseball diamond gave me extra strength to survive. The no-quit attitude, fight to the end, continue to do the best you can with whatever you have. And all these things were instilled, obviously, through the coaches, and I have a great amount of respect for all those men. And OHS provided that for me. After playing football at UK and me being the size I am now and the size I was then, when I went to be drafted, they said I was too big for my height. And I wasn't really sure what that meant, but this guy said, well, just go home and eat, because you really don't want to go. And so I came home, I was not drafted, and then about 20 days later I had an accident, and that kind of changed everything in my life. And it truly gave me a better perspective on who I am and what I need to be doing. Needed a new artificial leg. Insurance wouldn't pay, workers' comp bought you one. So I just packed everything home in the back of my Ford and drove to the place that made my leg and asked for a job. I said, sure, $2 an hour, sweeping the floors and cutting out leather, straps and stuff. And from that point on, it was just another accumulation of guardian angels floating in and out of your life. And a fellow named Ronnie Snell kind of saw me and said, someday we're going to put a place in Owensboro, you know, if you ever get tired of where you're working, come work for us. I started coaching Little League Baseball over at Southern Little League, and Andy Anderson called me up and said, why don't you come out and coach the team? And I get over there and they're like 0-15 last year, and I said, yeah, okay, I'll take the team. Then I started coaching at Owensboro Catholic, and Jack Hicks like killed me, but at that time the paraprofessionals couldn't coach any place but Owensboro Catholic. Kind of were talking about who's going to run for mayor. And went around the table, and there were 4 much better qualified candidates than me, and they all had an excuse. They got around to me, and I said, well, I'll do it. You need to earn things. That anybody can give you things. And even though you may think you're entitled to things, but deep down inside, you'll get the greatest satisfaction out of earning something.
Mr. Tom Watson.
A local entrepreneur, city commissioner, and former mayor pro tem, our next inductee has fond memories of the compassionate teachers at Owensboro High School. When Principal Joe Brown found out that she was thinking of quitting the track team, he encouraged her and attended practice to make sure she was there. The track team went on to win a state championship her senior year.
Wow, when David called me, I was driving actually, and he said, I've got some good news for you. And I said, yeah? And he said, yeah. I said, you have been chosen for our Hall of Achievement. And I started to cry. I could not believe it. I was so excited. What an honor. Senior high was the best. What I remember most is all of the caring teachers that was at senior high. My senior year we won, so we were the very first girls track team to ever be at senior high and the very first girls track team to win state. Miss Louise Carpenter, she taught biology. She would always tell me, Pam, I need you to come and comb my hair. And you know, I'd comb hair and she'd be teaching class. And that's something that I've always had an interest in, was hair. And so once I left senior high, I went to St. Louis and went to cosmetology school there, finished cosmetology school, came back home, and decided I did not like the city. The city life was not for me, and I came back to Owensboro. And I worked in a salon here, and I was the first African American to work in an all-white beauty salon. And that was different. But anyway, it was great. It's part of who I am. It made me who I am. And anyway, and after I did that, after working for several salons, I decided I wanted to open my own business. I had a beauty salon with 1 sink, 3 hair dryers, and a styling station. And I stayed there for over 20 years. I went to cooking school in Florida, and then I got a cooking certificate there. And then I opened my catering service with a friend of mine. We decided to open a restaurant. So I had Captiva Cafe, I had Pam's Beauty Salon, and I had Tastefully Yours Catering, all going at one time. One day I was just thinking about running for city commissioners. I had thought about doing it before, and everybody told me, oh, you don't want to do that, that it's something that people will worry you all the time. And ran that first campaign and became Mayor Pro Tem. What a shock, what a shock. But it was awesome. The citizens of Owensboro are tremendous people. I joined the AMVETS, which is American Veterans, and became the president here locally. Go to school every day, enjoy it, because once it's gone, it's gone. But do your best to be the best person that you can be.
Pamela Smith Wright.
Another local entrepreneur who had a passion for his family and hydroplane racing. He owned Sterrett Crane and Rigging, ranked as the 17th largest crane company in the country. He built a hydroplane for Speedzeum and contributed to the Soapbox Derby track at Ben Halls.
A 1964 Owensboro High School graduate, William Sterrett Jr., or Bill Sterrett, was a family man, a successful businessman, competitor, and lover of life. He served in the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War as a chief mechanic on an Air Force base. He owned Sterrett Crane and Rigging, ranked as the 17th largest crane company in the country. In hydroplanes, he set 2 course records and won the President's Cup in Washington, D.C., receiving the trophy from President Nixon. He built a hydroplane for the Speedzeum and contributed to the Soapbox Derby track at Ben Halls. The greatest lesson from his life: live in the present.
Ladies and gentlemen, accepting the award on Mr. Bill Sterrett is his daughter.
Our next inductee committed his life to community service as well. He served in the Army and returned to Owensboro and became a teacher. He also is a champion for local businesses through his work with the Chamber of Commerce, Downtown Development, and the Owensboro Riverport. He's proud to be a Red Devil because it makes him part of the tradition of excellence.
Very humbling. Owensboro High School has had so many thousands of wonderful graduates who've achieved great beyond what I've ever achieved. And so to think that a group of folks who have been evaluating graduates would select me for this honor was very humbling. When I look back at all of my schooling, the days at Owensboro High School were absolutely wonderful, you know. And beyond good friends, I think the greatest memory I have when I reflect back on it is I had some of the most magnificent teachers I ever worked. Playing football, I was a very small kid, weighed 130 pounds soaking wet, and yet started 2 years on Owensboro High School's varsity team, was the captain of the team in 1959. And you know, when I was selected as captain by the coaches, I thought, you know, maybe there's something to this. I graduated from Owensboro High School in 1959, went to college at Murray State University, graduated there in '63, served 2 years in the military, decided I wanted to come back to Owensboro. Dr. Kenneth Estes, who was the superintendent at the time, had already said, "Fred, come back, I want you to teach here." So came back, taught science at Faust Junior High School for 5 years, and in 1971 was named principal there. I was principal at Faust for 5 years, and then was asked by Dr. Hilliard, the superintendent at that time, to go to Owensboro High School 9-10 Center, which was probably the most fun principalship job I ever had. It was absolutely magnificent. I think I'll just retire, get somebody else a shot at this principal job, and go do something else. I had earned my doctorate at Vanderbilt in that interim period, and so I'd become a good friend with David Atkinson, who was the mayor at the time, and David asked me to come down and open up a workforce development center called Skills Incorporated. That was an operation where we did pre-employment testing for job seekers. We basically changed the way you get a job in North Davis County. Went down there and was the executive vice president. David ran the industrial development side, and I did the chamber side of the operation. Did that for 7 years, which is a long time for me. Most jobs I did about 5 years. I kind of get tired and say do something else for a while. But at that time I thought I just want to just retire and kind of lay back. But had heard of an organization in Nashville, Tennessee called Modern Red Schoolhouse. I'd gotten my doctorate at Vanderbilt, so I knew the town well, knew the people there, and so I did join them as a consultant. And I worked with school principals in about 30 or 40 states over the next 7 years with them. 2002, your now current superintendent, Nick Brake, asked if I consider come down and help with downtown redevelopment. So I applied for that job, was hired in that job, and from 2008 to 2011, worked on the downtown revitalization program. Appreciate what you're getting here. You're getting an education that's second to none. I've traveled to schools all across the country as a consultant, and I will tell you that there are no better schools than the Owensboro Public Schools anywhere in this country.
Dr. Fred Reeves.
She studied law in both Russia and England and returned to the United States to become an intelligence analyst for the FBI. While at OHS, she learned that being herself was the key to success. She also learned to do what you love, and her passion has led her to public service.
It was a real honor, and especially when he told me that it was my brother who nominated me. I was just completely blown away. My brother has been one of my best friends my entire life, and to get news from David, a family friend and personal friend for so long, that my brother had thought so highly of me to nominate me, it was amazing. The fondest memories I have were of my friends and my teachers. I was a little bit different than my friends in high school. I worked with a really competitive, but in a fun way, group. We always wanted to do more than what was required. I went to Brescia University, so a lot of my friends went away to school. They went to Transylvania, they went to University of Kentucky, some went to Western. I decided to stay home. After Brescia, I decided from all my newspaper experience, and I really liked doing investigative pieces, not just human interest, but I liked learning why. Why was the budget this way? Why did, when we got a new baseball team, was the push to increase athletics? Or why did we not have a political science major anymore? Why couldn't we keep a teacher? So I liked the investigative aspect. It just kind of seemed natural for me then to go to law school. I went to immigration law, where we were learning how to get people into the country. We were learning about limits and what kind of visas we have, and how many applications you can accept and things like that. And then we learned of the attacks. And it was poignant to me because I was learning how to get people into the country, the same kind of people who committed these attacks against us. And it really kind of turned my life. I really knew I had to do more. Went on to graduate school at the University of Kentucky, where I got a master's in national security. My actual degree is in international diplomacy, but the emphasis is in national security and intelligence. I eventually then went on to get a job with the FBI. I can talk about people. Everyone can talk about people. Oh, honey, there's this woman at work who's really giving me a hard time with this thing and this thing. But I can't talk about specifics. I can't say, I saw this today and it really bothered me. It's something I have to hold inside, and I can compartmentalize and I just can't share certain things. And he understands it. He completely understands it. When he was in the Army, he had a top secret clearance, so it's delightful to me that he understands that sometimes I come home and I'm in a terrible mood because I saw something, that one of those things that can't be unseen. And I just hold it and keep it inside and then work to, that's why I do so much that I do, to try and keep bad people from doing bad things. Even though I wasn't the smartest and not everything came inherently, it didn't come easy. But if you work hard, you can do absolutely anything you put your mind to.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kristen Ryland.
Our next inductee served her country for 21 years in the United States Air Force. She credits Owensboro High School with teaching her perseverance, hard work, and self-confidence. Those skills served her well as she led a forward logistics operation in Desert Storm and commanded one of the largest supply squadrons.
I was in shock, and I was very, very honored. I see this not only as an honor for me, but for all of the high school students that have graduated and gone on to be successful in their careers. You've just chosen 10 out of hundreds of people that are very, very capable of winning this award. OHS was an awesome time. My sisters, Patty, Debbie, and Lisa, we were all in high school together. I can remember being on the track team, doing all kinds of different extracurricular activities. But on the serious side, OHS provided the foundation for success later on in my life. After high school, I went to Murray State, got 2 degrees in chemistry and biology, and decided to follow in the footsteps of my grandfather and my father and go into military service. My grandfather, Robert, was a doughboy in France during World War I, and my father was on a Navy aircraft carrier in the Pacific during World War II. I chose the Air Force because it provided the most opportunities for women at that time. We're talking the late 70s, so the military did not have a large percentage of women. And I'm very happy to say today that that has totally changed. Women can be in combat roles, they can do almost anything they want to do. It's been over 2 decades. During that time period, I met my husband of 33 years, John. He's also retired Air Force. We raised 2 children, Jennifer and Jonathan. I worked with a lot of individuals that are very dedicated, hardworking young men and women throughout my career. And I would say that anybody that is successful does not do it alone. You have people that work with you that are team members, and that is something that you really need to keep in consideration. After that, I retired. I retired to come home. My dad was ill, and it was time for me to come home and spend some time with him. My children started having kids of their own, so now I'm a grandma with 2 grandchildren, Maddie and Logan. And my husband and I are beekeepers. We retired outside of Bowling Green on a farm, and we raise our own vegetables. We are, like I said, beekeepers. We do a lot of educational opportunities in teaching people about beekeeping, especially young elementary children. Have the courage to follow your dreams. Be kind and considerate to others. We live in a very diverse world today. Take into consideration others' feelings, and always, always be patriotic.
Named Mr. Owensborian his senior year, our next inductee has gone to MC over 1,000 community events. A member of the Rose Curtain Players, his fondest OHS memory was producing the Senior Talent Show.
I'm glad no one asked for a recount, but I was very surprised. I mean, we really are in tall grass here. I think if you went back to 1970 and asked my teachers then, would Kirkpatrick's name ever appear on the wall of achievement here? And I think many of them would say yes, but only if he spray painted it there one night. My team was not on the basketball or football field, but I found a home and I found a team in the Rose Curtain Players. He taught me very quickly all of the fundamentals that others learned on the field, the importance of practice, teamwork, self-confidence, being able to rely on each other and being able to do your best, that it really did make a difference. So I learned that through the public school system. In college, I honed my communication skills, and after college, went to work at the radio and television station here in Owensboro. Very fortunate to have Bob Steele as a boss. He encouraged me to become involved in the community, and I did at an early age. When I was probably 25 or 6, I was asked to be the MC of the Rooster Booster Breakfast for the Chamber of Commerce. That was going to be a one-year gig, and 37 years later, I was still the MC, and they just would not re-sign a 36-year contract for me, so I said no. It was a great opportunity to sit next to 400 different speakers over that period of years. After radio and television, I went to work at Waxworks, Owensboro's best-kept secret. Terry Woodward also supported my efforts to become and remain involved in the community. It started in the throes of this recession that I told you about, and when I talked to the board about doing this, they had asked me to MC the annual dinner, and there was no good news. And I said, well, why don't we have somebody else give the good news? We could have like a telephone that would ring and it's good news. And they hated the idea. They thought, what do you have a phone up there? It doesn't matter. But after the very first dinner, they said, you've got to bring that telephone with you. And we did at Rooster Booster ever since then. And everyone wants one. I mean, Governor Beshear wanted his picture taken with it. Friday After 5 has been something I've been very involved with for now 20 years. It's hard to believe it's been that long. But I think that also is a great way to celebrate what Owensboro is all about. It's our riverfront, getting people together. What was really taught to me was how to learn. And what I didn't realize then, but certainly do now, is that learning is a lifelong experience. And the benefits and assets of being able to keep an open mind and learn is very important.
Mr. Kirk Kirkpatrick.
Our next inductee is known throughout the country for his work in immunology. He empowers his patients to be involved in their healthcare decisions, and as a result, has won numerous patient satisfaction awards. His favorite OHS memory was a Rose Curtain Players trip to New York City during spring break.
I was surprised and pleased. Initially, I thought they had the wrong person. I thought, I haven't really done anything to really merit that type of distinction. But as I thought about it, I thought, well, this is a good opportunity for me to go back and really acknowledge the people that helped me and to really thank those that were involved in my academics and my training and giving me some opportunities. So I was happy to come back and speak to some of those things. As I think back really on my memories here, I had a tremendous number of opportunities to be involved in all sorts of things, from academics to the arts to, I can remember we had a quiz bowl team and we got to take an out-of-state trip or two with that and travel, which was pretty exciting. I had the opportunity to go to Center College in Danville, Kentucky, which was a very excellent small private liberal arts school. The best thing about Center College was I met my future wife, Sandy, and we were fortunate enough to have 2 great kids, and we've been married 25 years, so that was a wonderful part of Center. From there, I went to medical school at the University of Louisville. And then I had another decision, branch point, to decide where to go for residency and fellowship training, specialty training after medical school. I was fortunate enough to get accepted into Vanderbilt and went there for internship and residency, and stayed on in fellowship in rheumatology. So after we do a specialty training or general internal medicine training, we do some specialty training. We have an option to do that, and I stayed in rheumatology. The other thing that came out of that experience was I realized that not only did we have at one extreme this very advanced technology and science, but we also had the opportunity to work in the inner city city-run hospital for the indigent in Nashville. And there was a great divide between really sort of the advances that we had medically to, in some cases, patients not being able to afford their medicines or not understanding how to take basic care of their blood pressure and their blood sugar and all these other things, and even try to how to have transportation back and forth to the doctor. So what I learned from that was really to try to bridge that gap to really what I do now, which is I'm in a private practice setting in Nashville, Tennessee, in a fairly large multi-specialty group. And I mostly have patient care responsibilities and direct clinical responsibilities, but I also do a fair amount of teaching, both to physicians and specialists and nurse practitioners and to our patients. Find your passion in life. I think one of the keys to really being happy and have a productive life is to find what you're passionate about and do everything that you can to reach that passion. You want to really have a career that you enjoy. It's not just a job, it's something you feel strongly about. And as I've thought about that and as I've gone through my own sort of career, the people that I think have achieved a lot of success have found mentors, and they've found somebody in their area of expertise that was really a thought leader. And so find those people. Whatever you do, find somebody that's a thought leader. Go to that person directly, try to learn from them.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Victor Bird.
Our final inductee is an ESPN announcer, Army veteran, and longtime OPS school volunteer. His greatest OHS memories are the friendships he developed, which still exist today.
I didn't know if somebody's joking or not, because I cut up a lot with people and stuff like that, but it really humbled me because I know the caliber of people that are on that wall. I know the caliber of people that were submitted for it, and it's an honor. OHS dominated sports around here when I was going here. I graduated in '65, and it was just amazing because the school had just, through the federal government's rules, they had just merged some schools, and Owensboro had no problem, OHS had no problem at all with the merging. As a matter of fact, everybody, when they closed Lincoln School down, everybody got along and had a good time, and man, we went from being bad to just flat being ornery. I was drafted out of college, okay? I was married at the time to Betty Kincaid, and we had a daughter named Shane. She was 1 year old. That's the same daughter that's now a doctor out of Kentucky Wesleyan. And then went to Vietnam, worked with the 101st Airborne Division in the gunship unit, and received a couple of Bronze Stars over there for what I did. Somebody woke me up and said, "Armstrong, bag and baggage, you're going home." And 48 hours later, I was standing in the middle of Third Baptist Church in Owensboro, Kentucky. Started a t-shirt business called Army Armstrong Promotions, and it was it was good business because I enjoy motorsports, and as a hobby I've been involved in motorsports. Like I say, the head of JA, Bill Elmer, who was also the head of Texas Gas, said we need to find somebody that can come in here and run this program for us. Okay, so I went over and ran the program for 6 years, loved it. I got a phone call that said, "Hey, do you know anything about truck and tractor pulling?" I said, "No, but I can find out." The announcing came along from that. I got involved with BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, let's see, the ESPN. As a matter of fact, my son, Mason, is the lead sound man on the ESPN Motorsports now. My wife, Lynn, and I decided we wanted to adopt a child. Got Haley, and then came back, and then let's try it one more time, and she went back to China and got Camille. So I had to slow down. Well, they told me to slow down. But as a result of that, my children, all of them, again, went to Sutton Elementary School. So I went over and I started volunteering at Sutton. They call me Mr. Knuckles. That's it, knuckle a kid. Pat the kid on the head every day. I want every child that goes to school in the morning to hear something positive. The world is made up of tribes. Doctors run with doctors. People that enjoy motorsports run with them. The arts people stay together. Take each tribe and go to it and take something with you to the next tribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, Army Armstrong.
Let's give a final round of applause for all of our 2016 Hall of Achievement inductees. Now our Owensboro High School Bravo Chorus will perform The Climb. Gotta keep my head held high. It's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb. Through the struggles I'm facing, the chances I'm taking. Sometimes might knock me down, but no, I'm not breaking. One day I know it. But in the moment, I'm gonna remember most. Just gotta keep going, and I gotta be strong. Just keep pushing on. There's always gonna be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle. Sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't about how fast I get there. Ain't about what's waiting on the other side. It's the climb.
Okay, our ceremony is coming to a close. There's a few things I'd like to say. First of all, if you weren't here earlier, my name is John DeLacy. I'm the principal here at Owensboro High School, proud graduate 1988 of Owensboro High School. Very proud of my experience here. I would like to thank the students here that are here today. I would like to thank the friends that came out and supported our inductees, and thank our community members that are here to support such great people that we are recognizing today. These impressive inductees have certainly added to the tradition of excellence that we have here and that we hold high at Owensboro High School. For the seniors that are here today, these people have left a legacy, and they continue to leave a legacy. When I was a student here, again, as I said, I had proud moments. I looked at those pictures on the wall. When I passed, I wanted to see what they did before me, and it challenged me and motivated me to become better and to contribute and give back to my community as these people sitting here today. I'm here as a principal today to tell you that they made a difference in me so that I could be here to lead and service you, to help you to be prepared. My challenge to you is to go out and make your legacy. Continue to contribute to our community, continue to contribute to our society, but go out and make a difference.